Hello and welcome to Conversations with Esther tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will begin. The rest will catch up with us. Tonight we get on a topic, women, money, and investments. And I see quite a number of us here. Thank you for joining. I will pray and then we can begin. Lord, we thank you for this session. We pray that you lead us, guide us, and instruct us. Thank you for our presenter. Be with her in Jesus' name. Amen. So karibu sana, welcome to Conversations with Esther. If you're joining us for the very first time, I'll just take you through a very quick brief on who we are. We are an impact-driven professional platform that aims to inform you, educate you, rebuild your mindset on work and life in totality. Now, we ignite ethical and authentic leadership, promoting best practice within industries. Now, Conversations with Esther equips you and the workplace with relevant legal, human resource, and holistic wellness skills through training, motivational talk, end-to-end human resource consultancy support, and mentorship programs. We are guided by our three values: integrity, excellence, and impact. And we envision a workplace transformed by professional conversations, respectable relationships, and intentional leadership. We are keen on your wellness. And this is a question we will ask you every time we meet. What are you doing about your wellness? Which pillar are you moving with in 2026? Or which pillars are you even promoting in the workplace? I know we have leaders in this meeting. Which pillars are you working at in your workplace? We can go to the chat. We'll look at that later. We'll review that later. But what are you doing, Martha, Sarah, Daktari, and all the others? What are you doing in your workplace, in your life, in your family? Are you promoting physical wellness, mental wellness, financial wellness, social wellness, spiritual, environmental, or intellectual wellness? Today, our speaker is well known to us. Thank you, Zipporah, for always stepping in. You're our to-go person when it comes to money matters, and especially budgeting and investments. And for women, there was no better person to come and speak to us than you. So women, money, investments. Far too long conversations around money and investing have felt out of reach for many women. Often seems as complex, intimidating, or not for us. But the truth is simple. Financial independence is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Today's woman is not just earning, she is building, she's growing, and securing her future. It's time to shift the narrative. Investing is not about how much you have, it's about how early you start, how consistent you are, and how informed your decisions become. Now, we have a certified credit professional, our very own Zipporah. I want to give her the stage now to take us on with this. Karibu sana, Zipporah.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. Thank you once again. And thank you for those who have joined us for today as we are having this conversation with Esther Katiba. And I'm delighted
Zipporah, sorry,
to.
you can possibly
Yes.
adjust your screen. You
Oh,
wait
all right.
below. Thank you. Thank you.
Now I'm good. All right. Thank you so much, Esther. And thanks for that introduction. Once again, my name is Zipporah Teroge Gikonyo, and I'm happy to be in your midst today as we talk about women, money, investment. I know sometimes we find ourselves maybe shying off. This is a topic maybe that is meant is a man talk. Maybe probably most of the time you'll find men talking about money, but we want to, we just want to equip ourselves so that we can be more informed, and also to be able to make better decision as far as our money is concerned. And I'm glad that we are having this conversation today. Let me share my screen. Sorry, so that you can be able to see what I am about to start presenting. Just a minute, share my sorry, just a minute. I'm here with you. I want to share a window. I want to share this. Share. And I want to have it a screen. Yeah. And, yeah, sure. There we are. Hope you'll be able to walk with me. Yes, I've mentioned my name is Ipora Njoroge Gikonyo, and I'm happy to be in this forum. And thank you, Esther, once again for giving me an opportunity to speak to these great ladies who are with us today as we talk about money matters. Yes, I work hand in hand with Esther, but I consult for a company called Credit and Debt Management Services Limited, where I'm a key consultant as well. And money matters is what we talk about most of the time. So welcome as we look at women, money, and investment. And the first thing, maybe when I look at a woman, and I'm a woman talking to a woman this evening, I think once we meet somewhere in our places of work or in the neighborhood or wherever we are very good. And the first thing that hits us, can we come together? Can we have a chama? Can we start saving? We are very good. We are very good at that we want to to start saving. We have something that will bring us together. Apparently money has a way of bringing us together, where we contribute, can have some tea and make some decision. But I'm glad, because from such forums is where we have seen women doing great things most of the time. I've seen women come together. I've seen women, women do great things, even buy properties and do all that. But I'm sure there's a place where we can we can do better. We can improve. We can go beyond the chama of mandazi, visiting our homes, doing all that, lending to other people. At the end of the day, the chama just goes silent. People fail to pay us. We start asking tutakota deni aje, relationships are broken and all that. Why? Because maybe the chama didn't have, we were not all aligned to our objective. We did not set the objectives at the time we started forming the chama. It just started as tea and mandazi, coming together, getting to know each other, our children getting to know one another and all that. But now the chama grows, we have finances, we have so much. One says, can we buy a plot? The other one says, oh, no, let us start lending. And in that process, where there was no objective, we find ourselves now again, this chama becoming too big for us even to manage. And many a time many chamas have collapsed. And I'm sure here we have strained relationship with people we were in a chama. They failed to pay back the loan which we gave them as ladies. And that was the end of our relationship. Na pesa ikakunywa maji. I don't know whether I'm talking to you here today, because I think for me, I've been in a chama, in another one and another one. And until nikafika mwisho nikajiambia, for now, acha niachane na chama. Kama ni chama ya kutoa ya investment, wacha hata mimi ni invest sasa upande wa kwangu. I don't know if there is anyone who can reckon with me. I don't know whether Esther, you have been in such a scenario. I'm a Faith. Faith, have you been in a chama that disappointed you? Or Sarah? I give you an opportunity, even as we continue. Has anyone found themselves in that scenario? You can say a word even in the chat, right? Okay,
See, Martha's
right.
hand is up.
Yes, Martha, please have a second or 3 seconds.
Okay, for me, I've been a chair lady of a Chamat, a company that I used to work, where
Yes.
we were contributing a certain amount of money. It was little or bigger, but then
Yes.
when we
Yes.
kept the first employee,
Mm-hmm.
we were 20 in that Shama. Then it disappeared
Yes.
like that. So everyone was just
Uh-huh.
used to a chair. So we need our money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. Aha. Thank you. Yes. I'm sure if I'm to give all of us that opportunity, we all have a story. Yeah, that was my story. That was a story, and all of us have a story. Strained relationship, and people even coming in the house and bringing a lot of drama. So today, that because we have been given a moment to talk about money, maybe we can talk about it. And when you talk about money, we are basically we are looking at it as an asset that is in our hands that we need to manage. And why should we do this? I think one of the key things that we need to be financially aware as a woman is because one, we are becoming increasingly, financial decision makers. We are now on the table. It is not those days that we were out of the table. So we have to have internalized money matters and know that where money, a decision is being made pertaining money, you are in that discussion. You are on that table. So what are you bringing on the table as far as money matters are concerned? So, but we find that we, as much as we are becoming financial decision makers, we are still facing challenges. And I thought we would look at those challenges. One, maybe probably you'll find that sometimes our income levels, as compared to men, sometimes it's a bit lower for various reasons. Maybe when you went for maternity and there was a promotion that came, you would not be promoted because you are not there, right? The other thing would be maybe you get career breaks. Maybe at some point you got a baby or you got babies, health issues, you had to take a career break. So by the time you are coming back to carry on with your career, after maybe you have sorted the issue, unapata kwamba you have to start somewhere lower, maybe even than where you were. So that also brings a challenge. Then, of course, the other thing, limited investment exposure. But I'm happy now. Now we have been properly exposed. We cannot say that that is a big challenge because we can overcome it. So, what is it that we need to take up in this day and age? We need to be empowered. We need to take control of our money and grow wealth. So we have to stand to be counted in terms of growing wealth, in terms of managing money, in terms of being prudent on how we manage we manage money. So, why financial empowerment? I would say this: if you are to be financially independent, then you will have what we call the freedom of choice. So financial independence is equals to freedom of choice. So you cannot be independent if you are depending on another person money. So it also has to do with the ability to support family and future goals. And this is why I've mentioned at the start that we are now at the decision, a financial table, making decisions. We have been empowered. But the issue is, are we looking at ourselves as decision makers, or we are sitting behind the tent and somebody else is making decisions? So we are expected to support family. I know there is that narrative, and I don't buy into it for various reasons, but there is always that narrative that as a woman, and it is selling so much, as a woman, my money is mine, but money belonging to my husband uh, is our money, right? So even if there is a problem in the family, you cannot use your money. In fact, stories are told where women even tell their husbands for various reasons. I'm not judging, but you will hear a woman say she has money in her account somewhere, and there is a family issue that really needs to be sorted, but you will always hear one thing, nitakopa kwa kikundi ya wamama nikupatie na wewe ukipata urudishe, but it is your money, fine. So sometimes, and we also put so much pressure because of now tunasema pesa ni ya kikundi, and I don't know whether you have also seen a story that was trending. Someone was saying that mzee amelipa rent miaka na miaka, muda mrefu sana. And then only for him to realize after like 20 years that landlord wake alikuwa the wife. I know I'm not talking to any of us here, but what I'm trying to say is that we have been empowered, or we are to be empowered, so that we can also give support to the family. I am not saying that to take up all the roles or anything, but can you imagine a point where even a family is sleeping without food because you have money, but it is your money, so the man has to provide. So there are all those cultural things maybe that we can look at. The other thing is so that we can also have what we call protection against emergencies. As a woman, maybe you have taken all your monies to the chamas and everywhere, and an emergency comes. Hiyo pesa ya chama imefungwa. You can't have that money. So what normally happens, you find yourself now in trouble. You cannot be able to address the emergency that has come your way. So money, being empowered in terms of money or economically, it is so that you are also able to be protected against emergency. But you find many women, tukipata pesa hivi, tunainama Gikomba, tunainama kwa street, tunainama everywhere. You should see when we take the trolley to shop, you know, the things we pick. We walk into a supermarket without even a list of the things that we need to buy. You have a budget, but you never even budget for savings, for investment. Maybe investment iko kwa chama. Nimesema hiyo tutaiongelelea shortly. The other one is that also why financial empowerment matters is so that we can also break generational poverty cycles. And I usually tell women, and when I talk to women, I can say this: I am a woman from a background, let me say the way politicians say, a humble background. And when I started earning an income, I hated poverty because the face of poverty, it was on me, and I would see a future that was very bleak, if I am to say that. And how did I do it? I remember I vowed to myself, I told myself, this is not the kind of life I want to live, and neither would I want my sibling to live this kind of life. And I knew that I had to break that cycle. So I empowered the girl child that, okay, we have big family, but all the like 7 were girls at a start. So breaking generation poverty, you have the key. And I usually say this: women, you have the key to success. You have the key to financial breakthrough in your house, in your homes, in your families where you come from. So I always say it is for you to use that key to unlock those doors so that poverty can be released, so that you are not chained by poverty in the family. Right. Challenges that we keep facing, the financial challenges that we face as women, I mentioned them at the first. Income gaps. As I mentioned, probably in the process of bringing up a family, raising children, you know your career got retarded, you stepped out of career. By the time you are coming back, and maybe let me, if you are to just to draw the graph of a woman, when you start bringing up children, I'm sure you will, like 3 years, hawezi move, hawezi tembea. So if you are to do 3 years for one child, you are not do another 3 years for another child, you do another 3 years, you find that for you, there will be like 10 years in that span of bringing up children, that your income gap is likely to widen and your career is likely to retard. So that is why we are saying these income gaps that we may find ourselves in, what can we do about them? What is this that I can do? Maybe we'll have that also short deliberation on that. So the other one that really challenges is fear of investing. Tunataka kushikilia. Unaona unaweka ile hata mtu akikugonga ngeta ama kungonge wapi, huwezi itumia, unaogopa kuinvest. But I tell women, but tunapenda kuinvest kwa chama. Do we look at the pros and the cons? So let us not fear investing. Let us not fear going into the stock market. Let us not fear even going and putting, buying a property. Do not fear. And I will refer you, I love referring to the Bible. I will refer you to go and read Proverbs 31. That godly woman, what she does, she's able to buy properties. The Bible records that. She's able to go and negotiate even for a plot. She's able to go and get into merchant ships and bringing items and all that, and selling and doing that. And we can see what the Bible says at the end of it, of what people think of her and what her husband thinks of her and what people see of her and what children see of her. So as we are having this discussion and we are having this conversation, I want you to just go refer to Proverbs 31 and read and see what role does a woman play as far as wealth, as far as money is concerned. The other thing that we also suffer from is over-reliance on one income source. Unapata kwamba we only have one income source, hatuna kitu ingine, maybe for various reasons. Maybe, of course, there are businesses which we would say if you are working and if you are employed, do not dare to start those businesses that will require your attention. And remember, you are still maybe taking care of children, for those maybe who still have children. So another challenge that we face as women is reliance on one income source, right? The other one, probably, but now we are having that session, lack of financial education. And this one, I say, this one affects all genders across board. The issue of not learning about money. Apparently, we learn about money on our own. Hakuna mtu alituambia maneno ya pesa. Sisi tu wenyewe ndio tunajipatanga, ndio tunaanza kujitafutia maneno. Then along the way tunasema, oh my God, I wish I knew. I wish somebody had mentioned about this. So the other challenge is lack of financial education. We are not getting the skills about handling money, but we will talk about that shortly. Then there is also the cultural and social expectation. Maybe you are there, but you are sitting back and saying, hii si mimi sio ninunue shamba, hiyo ni mambo ya wanaume, wanunue shamba, sio mimi. So tunapata kwamba kuna mambo inatuzuia kusonga mbele. But thank God, because after this conversation, we are going to change that and now start seeing ourselves as a woman who can make a decision in terms of money issues, in terms of investment, in terms of wealth creation, right? So we must have a mindset shift, where we are from saving only to investing for growth. We are good at saving, by the way. Tutaficha, tutaweka, tutakuwa tunaangalia balance na tunaona pesa iko mingi. But kuna kitu moja tunafaa. We need to invest. We need to invest. You know, when we invest, what happens when we do investment? The money start now getting children. Then the children now beget. They also beget, or they beget what we call the grandchildren. So unapata your income, your wealth inaanza kuendelea, inazaa, ikizaa, ikiongezeka. So we have to change from just saving. Hizo chama. And let me say this, okay, si ati napiga chama ni mzuri. But I want to imagine, and I want to ask you a very candid question. You have saved a lot of money in the past kwa chama. Unaenda round ama kama ile inaitwa merry go round. Unafikiwa, unafurahi utapewa chama ya 100,000 ama chama even ya 200,000. And more people who are in a chama that mtu akifikiwa hivi 200,000. But most people, when you sit back and you're having that conversation, by the way, we ulifanya nini na zako? You'll hear many, like 70%, what they will say, imagine hiyo pesa hata sijui ilienda wapi, sijui nilifanya nini, sijui kama hiyo pesa yote 100 naweza tu account for 30,000. Hiyo ndio najua peke yake, and this is what I did with them. So when we are saving, we save, we invest. Because we will see there is a issue. When we save, Maybe you are likely saving in a bank, maybe in that chama, in a place where the money is not growing. But when we make an investment, the question is, where can I invest? So when you make an investment, your fund or your finances, they start growing. Then we need to have a mindset shift from fear to making informed decisions about money. By the way, we have to be, how do I call it? We have to be very intentional on how we manage money, on how we handle money. We have to have that intimacy with money, yes, and be very intentional and plan for that money and direct the money. That is what we usually say, because we say that unless you direct the money, money will just look for ways to disappear from your hands. And apparently, I've mentioned this severally in my conversation. My grandfather used to say that when you get hold of money, ati pesa inaitwa nione, pesa inasema nione nikienda, that I am on my way out. So make sure that that money, when it comes in, it has an impact. Not only for that moment, but even an impact for the future. So even as we are living, as we are saving, as we are budgeting, we need to also budget for a tomorrow. We need to budget for investment. We need to budget. We save. My saving must have a goal. I am saving because I want to achieve this, right? Then we also need to have what we call a mindset shift from dependency to financial independence. Yeah, from dependency to financial independence. I've said severally, most women, you'll hear the conversation like, mimi siwezi nunua shamba, siwezi nunua plot, I can't do this, this is the, hii ni kazi ya mwanaume. Ni fine, ni kazi ya mwanaume. But remember, if you are in a home, for those maybe who are in a family setup, of a husband and a wife, you will find that if you don't talk about money matters, if you don't plan for that money, remember that your future also is with that, in that house. Your tomorrow is there. In your retirement, you will be facing the challenges that you would have addressed when you are having a good income. So we need to have that from dependency, I don't want to depend on, but I want to have what you're calling financial independence. So as we are moving with this conversation, what are the basics of money? What is this? Money, women, wealth. What is the basics of money? And when I talk about the basics of money, is first, you must understand your income. How much money do I make? Until you know how much money you make, you'll not be in a position to plan your expenses, or even to organize, or even to manage your expenses. And I always say this, apparently, our needs come before we earn, right? And all the time, we will always have a deficit. So it is for you also now, in your expenses, in your income, always remember that even as you are planning to spend, I must plan to save. I must also have a plan for what you are calling investments. So we have to be we have to be familiar with our income, how much money I earn. And you have to be familiar, where does my money go? So because the biggest question, or the biggest concern people have is, pesa nilipata ngapi na nimetumia pesa ngapi? In fact, many say hata sijui pesa inatokanga wapi, because mi mahitaji yangu ni mengi hata kuliko mshahara. It is by the grace of God that I survive. Najua tuko wengi kwa hiyo category, tuko wengi, but we are here saying that we need to be aware of our income, na ili tuweze kupanga mahitaji yetu vilivyo. So the other thing, I must do a budget. What do I mean by that? A budget, I know may sound complicated, but mi usema, mimi unajua, kama unajua unapata 30,000, unajua shopping ni pesa ngapi ya hiyo mwezi yangu, nahitaji 10 liters of oil, nahitaji half a bale ya unga, nahitaji this, nahitaji mboga kila siku na maziwa, natumiwanga kiwango hii ya pesa. So you plan with that. But many people say sitaki kupanga juu hiyo pesa hata iwezi ikatosha, so wacha nikaange hata bila kujua mahitaji ni gani ama nini, nitakuwa tu ninanunua just nijikimu, ikiisha nijue imeisha. But I'm here today as women, and as this month we are talking about money, women, money, let us now embrace the aspect of budgeting, the aspect of getting to know how much we earn, what are my expenses. So, and we can adopt our own model, or we can have our own rule. But there is a rule that I've seen that being marketed most of the time, but you don't have to follow this. But the essence is you must know which are my needs. Najua wengi tumepita hiyo class ya kujua what is a need. It's that thing that we cannot stay without. It is that thing that it is about, like food, shelter, clothing, hizo vitu. Unajua, these are my needs. Then after you have taken care of your needs with the 50% of your income, you now come and look at what are my wants, right? My wants are the things that I can stay without, things that I can postpone. They are not a matter of life and death. But most of the time, you will agree with me that wants, they speak louder than the needs. Our wants, I want, lazima nibadilishe hii TV. Lazima nibadilishe. Those are wants. Lazima niende. Sikina fulani walienda. Sikina nani. Hata mimi lazima nitakanyaga hapo. Those are wants. So they speak loudly that we even forget about that person called the needs, who is supposed to take 50%. Tunapata our wants taking even a higher level. Sawa? So then the other one, we talk about now savings, which is like a 20%. But we have been advised severally. We can adopt a different model where you can say, I will be saving 10%, and then my wants can take this 30%, depending on your role and responsibilities in the house. If you are the mother, you are the breadwinner, you are everything, taking care of the family, then what you need to do is to know, how do I, but, and this is a must have a saving. Put a saving. And we don't have to start big. Utaniuliza sasa, hii mshahara yangu mimi ninapata hii kiwango, nitasave nini na nibakishe nini? Natumia yote. Mungu anajua kesho. Hata kesho yangu nitaweka, alafu na hata sijui nani atakula. But remember, the Bible tells us, cast your bread in many waters and it will come back. Na tunasikia the foolish anakulanga kila kitu, but the wise stores for tomorrow. So we can have that saving. Thank you. I've seen that question. Then the other thing is you have to track your spending. When you track your spending, you track how you spend the money so that you can keep on readjusting, reallocating your budget, or what you're calling your expenses or your budget. You can keep on reallocating. Ndio ujue, maybe nilikuwa nimebudgetia maziwa na mboga 1,000 kwa hiyo mwezi. So what if now nimeona nimetumia more than or less than 1,000? So can I put the extras somewhere else I can allocate? Then you can also see on your budget, probably there's somewhere ulitumia zaidi, more than what you had budgeted. So what can you do? You go and readjust, uongeze, utoatoe mahali ilikuwa umeweka, right? So then the other question maybe because I'm talking about basics about money, is when do I budget? Saa zile pesa imekuja, ama kama bado sijapata pesa? Wacha nijibiwe hiyo swali. When do you budget? Before or when the money is in the hands? Wacha tusikie. Nani atatujibu? A volunteer inue mkono. Tuna budgetingi wakati pesa imeingia, ama wakati tuna anticipate pesa itakuja. Hata hatujaona pesa tunajua itakuja. So I'm asking that question. Who can tell us? Yes. Oh yes, hallelujah. That is you budget with what you have. Then huyo mwingine Sambe amesema before for me. The other one, you can write, you can chat. Who else? Those are 3 people. We are 12 or we are 10 of us. When do we budget? Before I get it, right? Thank you, Martha. Who else? Okay. Thank you. Yes, we have several answers. Is you budget with what you have at hand. You budget before. That is very true. And I want to send you back to our national our national government. We are headed to a close of the year 2025-2026. Ndio tuingie 2026-2027. So the government budgets even before we have paid the taxes. So inapangia, iko na matarajio, iko inajua this is, tukiangalia taxes zetu hiyo mwaka za income tax, za VAT, the excise duty, za fuel levy, hizo vitu zote zilikuwa hivi. Kwa hivyo tunatarajia tutapata hivi. Na hii deficit yetu tutaimit aje, tutaborrow from here, we shall borrow here and then be able to now be able to meet the budget. So the same thing, even for us individually, we need to be to plan before we earn the money. Don't wait until when you have the money is when you want to have a budget. Kama unajua, hata kama tuko kwa biashara, me I'm in business as well. Yeah. So I should be in a position to plan even before I earn them. I must know how much money I expect or how much money will come. So I must do what? I must plan for that money that I am expecting. I plan for it even before I have it. Because once money comes, the language of money, and I always repeat this, the language of money is one, spend me. And it speaks so loudly. Spend me. Yes, spend me. That is the language. Nitumie. So if you do not have a budget, utafind kwamba you will have send the money to money, pesa itakuwa imejituma, imejipea shughuli kutoka kwa mifuko yako, imejishughulisha, sijui nani ako na budget ya wedding, sijui kuna huyu, kuna hivi, nafaa kutole, na si kwa budget yangu. So by the time I'm settling down, now that the money at hand I have is here, I start planning for it, utapata kwamba hauna pesa. Kwa hivyo, we budget before we get the money. We write our budget. We don't go to the supermarket and pick things. We prepare a shopping list before we go to the supermarket to buy the money. So the other thing, saving versus investing. So someone I've seen a question, save, how, when I save, after that, niwe napita ATM, nachungulia balance yangu, ama naingia online, my online banking, nachungulia naona, niko na hizi pesa. Nashukuru na furahia. Kuna watu wanapenda kuona, I hope I'm clear. You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Am I clear? Nilikuwa na connection issue kidogo.
Yes, you're back. You're back.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry for that. Yeah. So we talk about saving versus investment. Nimeulizwa, where do we save? Where can you advise us to save? So there are savings. People do save. You put money in a bank account or you put money in a fixed account and all that. Tunasema when savings, they are low risk. Savings zako ziko save. Ni ukweli. Savings, we can save for short term, or you can even put it in a bank account. So unaweza hiyo saving yako, you want to make sure that haitapotea. So unasema, and you find that many of us will find ourselves going to the circle. Tuna save kwa circle. When we
Am I the only one who can't hear her?
Sorry, Esther, I'm back.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry for that. Something needed my attention briefly. So we are talking about their savings, good. They are low risk. They are short term, and you can. Yeah, sorry. So let us now talk about investing. When you do investment, you get what we call higher returns. The investment is for long term, and it is through investment that we can acquire assets. So we can decide we want to invest for long-term purposes, where you can maybe even buy a plot. You can put your money in bonds. You can put your money in what? Yes, you can put your money in bonds. You can also put your money even in insurance. We have insurance that we can purchase, but I know they have cons and pros for that. And then we also now see that when we make investment, there is the potential for higher investment. There is potential for a higher return. Utapata more. The higher the risk, the higher the return. So savings, when you save, we have talked about having a low risk. When we save, pesa yetu ni ngumu ipotee, so haitapotea sana, lakini kwa investment kuna likelihood and a higher chance unaweza poteza. So we also say, even as you're investing also, we need to be wise and make the right decision as far as investment is concerned, so that you don't also invest where you have not even places. Kama there, I know some of us have lived a number of years, and we have seen in the past people coming up with various I don't know, pyramid schemes, ati unapewa high returns, so watu wanakimbia huko wanafanya investment, utapata raundi ya kwanza, raundi ya pili, ama wewe ndio the unlucky one. Saa zile tu umewekelea pesa yako, hiyo kitu inabomoka, inaisha hivyo. Sijui kama kunaye amejipata kama mimi mahali kama hapo. Umeenda, watu wamesema wamekula, wamekuonyesha evidence, wameinvest nini. Saa zile tu umewekelea tu hapo hivi na umechukua ka loan kana sink. I'm sorry if you have that such kind of an experience. So what are our investment options in Kenya? Where can I invest my money? Where can I put money? So I have a number of them that we can make investments. Number one, we have the SACCOs. We can join a SACCO. And it's good to be in a circle. And when you're in that circle, don't just save so that you become the highest saver, ama unaonekana wewe ndio una save sana. You save also in the circle, save with a goal that hapa I'll take a loan and I will acquire this asset, and this asset will be bringing me an income. So don't just save to keep the money there safely. Make sure you are using other people's money. I think it is what we call him, Kioski. He talks about using other people's money. So make sure that you invest and in that circle, but you are investing with an intention that you'll be able to go in, get the money, and do whatever you want to invest in. So we have the other one is the money market funds. These ones, money market, I know for now, the returns are so low. And why are the returns so low in the money market funds? They are low because the government has become now the biggest borrower at the moment from the financial institution. So unapata, and then it is also determined by the what we call the basic lending rate. The basic lending rate. Ikishukishwa, incomes the money market zinapunguka. But I also usually advise you can create a money market account. And by the way, I'm not marketing for any, but you can choose. We have several CIC. You can choose from Britam. You open an account and you're able to manage it from your phone, make payments. When you have an emergency that you need to withdraw, you can access that money. So money markets, apparently the most important thing when you're talking about saving, investing, ni kuhakikisha kwamba wewe na pesa hamkai kimoja kimoja. Make sure money is far off from your reach. Usikuwe una kila, because you know what happens when you have cash in your pocket. You can easily spend it. But when it's somewhere else, you even tend to forget the money is there. So you will not be desiring to go get that money. Then we have what we call the government bonds and treasury bills. There's a difference. Bonds are usually long term. There utapata a government bond iko maybe 5, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? So, and the beauty is it also earns some interest annually. It earns semi-annually. So utakuwa unashtukia tu umetumiwa interest when it is when you have invested in a bond. So bonds are long term. So that's also a place where you can invest your money. Treasury bills, those ones are also government papers, but they are short term. Zina range between 90 days, kuna 90 days, kuna 180 days, na kuna 360 days. So that is 1 year. So those are what we call the treasury bills. So they are also discounted. So apparently when you invest the money, and the interest rate that they are using is maybe 10%, they immediately send you the interest, but at the end of maturity they'll give you your whole amount. So utapata kwamba mkiwekelea pesa wanakurudishia interest immediately. The money earns upfront, and then now after maturity, when you say that you will be withdrawing, they will now be able to hand you your full amount that you had invested. Assuming you put 100,000. When you put 100,000, they will give you, maybe they've told you 10%. Ukiwekelea, they will give you back 10,000 into your bank account. Then at the maturity, they will now give you your 100,000. So those are the treasury bills. So someone has asked, as women, as a chama, where can we invest? You can choose to invest in bonds. You can choose to buy government bonds, and this one nowadays it's easy. We have the central bank app iko hapo tu, unaweza ingia na unafungua account, si kama zamani. Zamani we used to go to central bank ndio ufungue account ya hizo kununua treasury bills na government bonds, na they are there most of the time. Utapata government is selling a bond. Okay, we say government akunanga hizo risk kubwa pesa kupotea, though mtaniambia kama sahi labda unaweza sema unaogopa, but government it's assumed that it is the safest place penye unaweza weka. So government bonds also they are long term and their interest is usually very high. So unaweza pata a bond earning you like 15% or 17 years for, or 17% for a period of 10 years. So you can do a good calculation and you see what if tumewekelea kama wamama 1 million, they'll be giving us 17% per annum for the lifetime of that bond that we have purchased. And because nyinyi kama wamama chama hamtoi, that can be a good line to invest. So government bonds and treasury bills. Also, as a woman, maybe as a chama or a group of women, you can even choose to put your money in the market, money market fund. Munaweka every year. Maybe kama ni end of year huwa munagawana. That money itakuwa ikizaria pale, and the risk of sending money to the chair or to the treasurer of the group inapungua. So kila mtu every month tumesema we are saving 10,000 every woman. And I'm talking that from experience of a group that we have. Every month, this is the much you're supposed to send it direct to money market. Share your deposit, a deposit SMS into our group. Then we keep that record. So come end of the year, we have reconcile and see this is it. How much money did we make? We made this. How much money can we withdraw? Withdraw this, share amongst ourselves. Na hii rudi ndani iendelee kuzaa. So those are also alternatives and options. Then the other one is the real estate. I know plots nowadays, they have their own risk. And also, I also say, if you buy a plot, never buy with the mentality ati unaweza uza kesho na ikusaidie. And for them to appreciate or to add in value, it takes a long period of time. Na ukitaka kuuza, ukiuza saa zile uko na stress kwa distress, ujue unaweza kosa mnunuzi na utanunua ama utanunuliwa kwa bei ile hata labda yenye ni half of even what you used to buy it. So it's good to know that when you're investing in assets, plots, hizo vitu ujue kwamba ni muda mrefu. So kuna rental units, you can decide I have this space, I will do rentals and will I will be renting them out. But let me say, every business has its own challenges. Tuko pamoja. Then we also now talk about the stocks. I have seen people talk about the Nairobi Securities Exchange. People are talking about shares. And I know for those who have been wamekuwa kwa muda mrefu, utajua kwamba kuna time when the stock market was very vibrant. It was very lucrative. Those who were in those ends, a KenGen and all that, people made a lot of money. And I know people are still making money even right now. But maybe we need to amplify and so that women and people or the citizens of this country learn more about them so that they can also, that's also another now vehicle that you can invest. Another area that you can invest in this country is by maybe operating a small business. And nowadays, you only need to know, where do I source? You don't have to have a physical shop. You need to know, where do I source the items that I want to sell, and where is the market, and who is the market. And you just draw the logistical chain, and you know that this is where I get my things. I'll be sending this person. I'll create a group, and this is where I'll be selling the items, and this is what I'll be doing. So you can create a business. Beauty is you can have now an online business without having to open a shop kwenye unaweka stock. We bora umejua, there is what people are talking about drop shipping. Unajua kwamba nani ako na vitu na ako wapi, ninatumana, this is the price I'm getting the items. And ladies have really embraced this, those who are selling clothes and fun and whatever we are calling the kitchenware. So anajua ziko hapa, nitalete, nitatuma mtu alete, I dropped customer alipe, then tufanye we drop or we dispatch the items to the customer. So those are just but a few. You can now also buy a life cover, a life insurance. You can save. Maybe when now maybe you get to retirement also, the years of retirement or those years we talk that ni za baadaye, when wakati tutakula kile tulikuwa tukisave, tutaweza kutafuta mbinu na njia za kuweka kwa pesa, ukwe unapokea kidogo kidogo kuliko upewe lump sum ikushtue uanze kujenga wakati umeretire alafu mjengo ikose kumalizika. So those are a few vehicles that we can be able to use to invest. Kwa hivyo maybe utaniuliza kwa nini sijasema chama? Okay, sijaiweka hapo. Kuna ingine nawekanga chama pia ikiwa hapo. Lakini nyinyi leo ninataka muniambie kama tu chama ni investment ama wewe kulingana na maoni yako unaweza iweka hapa ama tusiiweke hapo ndani. So I want to give you that leeway. So the other thing, as I come to a conclusion and also as I will be addressing the questions that I have seen, when we talk about saving, maybe utaniuliza zipi now, hii saving unatuambia, nina save nini, mshahara hata itoshi, pesa itoshi, the business is not yielding. Me, I'm here to challenge you. Thank you. Nimeona nimeambiwa chama is not an investment. Wow. Aya tayari nimeambiwa hivyo. So, maybe unajiuliza. Unajua, I usually say saving is paying yourself. Ni kujilipa. Kama hauja save, ujue hujajilipa. Kwa nini? Ile pesa umepokea, umekula na landlord, watoto wamekula, umekula na wazazi, kila mtu amegawana hizo pesa. Lakini wewe hakuna mahali umejigawia. So saving is like, treat saving like a payment to yourself. Because most probably, hiyo ndio itakuja kukusaidia baadaye. That is what you'll use later in your life. That is the only thing that you can use. Utaona investment yangu. Nitaona ile miaka yote nimefanya kazi, ni nini ninatoka nayo. Kwa hivyo maybe utaniuliza swali, nitasave aje, nitaanza aje. Mimi ninambianga mtu, start small. Make it a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes your way of life. And what will happen from small to zinaenda zikiongezeka, as you can see our team there from what I'm displaying. Pesa itazidi ikienda ikiongezeka. So because I would say this, wealth is not created overnight. And what is wealth? When we have invested, when I will talk about looking at your wealth, I will look at a number of things. Sawa? So you have investments that are giving you some returns. You have maybe where you are staying, you have owned a home. So how do I build my wealth? I can only build my wealth if I am intentional and if I start small by small. Usijiweke stress ati Zipi amesema you go and start saving 20%. No, start even with 1,000. And I always say that 1,000 per month, by end of the year, you'll have 12,000. Probably if you are somewhere, upate mtu anauza kambuzi yake, kambuzi yake na kona haraka, upate hata anauza 5,000. You can buy 2 goats. Those 2 goats, by end of the another year, zitakuwa zimekuzalia kama mara 2 kwa mwaka. Utajipata, you are creating your wealth. So start small, and by starting small, you will be able to grow your wealth. So what am I saying as we are almost coming to a conclusion? I'm saying this: be intentional about money, about budgeting, about saving, about investing. And by doing that, be sure that God has a way of multiplying what you have been earning over the years. So I think up to that point, I will put a comma so that I can give it to our moderator, and then we can answer the question that we'll be having. So I have questions nimeulizwa hapa before I hand over, that kindly share with us a spending tracker, one that speaks to our spending habits or lines as women. Maybe I will share with you, then Esther can share with us in the group. Then chama, nimeambiwa chama is not an investment. Nimekubaliana na huyu amesema, so the others were before I get the money, before I earn the money. We budget when what you have at hand. No, tumebadilisha hiyo, tumechange mind shift, tumetoka kubudget when we get the money from. Now we shall be budgeting before we even earn, before we even get the money. I should have prepared my budget. So what are the best saving platforms for women? I think I've addressed that. Business people have a challenge answering the question, how much money do I make? Good. Thank you so much. And I think this one I can address. I'm a business person. I know Esther is in business, and many of us here are in business. There's one mistake that we make when we start a business. We never pay ourselves. So what normally happens, we draw from the account of the business. So the very first thing that you need to do when you start a business, you should make sure that you allocate yourself a salary. So your mshahara useme, I'll be paying myself 20,000. That is the money you are earning. It's not money for the business that unatumia. Why? Because utajipata una draw pesa mingi kwa biashara, then you'll be crippling your business. So what you need to do, first sit down and start paying your, hata kama utaanza kujilipa na 5,000, pay yourself 5,000. Ukiona biashara vile inaendelea, unajiongezea mshahara, unajiongezea. Separate your personal money from the business. How much money I make? We must keep track and record. Nimenunua hizi vitu, hizi pesa. Nimeuza hizi. So what was my profit? My profit was this much. How much I'm paying in terms of the rent for the shop? This much. How much do I pay for the bills? Stima, maji, simu kwa biashara? This much. Do I have a staff? This. We pay bills. We pay salaries from profit, not from the capital. So utapata, if you do not have, if you have not allocated yourself a salary, you will be drawing from the business, and at the end of the day, utapata ile capital ulianza nayo yote imepotea. Kwa hivyo, some business advice for ladies and for women, we need to separate business money from personal money. When we do that, then we will be in a better position to know how much money the business is making. You will not be pledging 5,000 or 10,000 when somebody calls you for their rurashio. If you are paying yourself 20,000, utakuwa ukimpea kulingana na mshahara yenye unadraw kutoka kwa biashara. Lakini kama haudraw kutoka, unadraw kutoka kwa nini yako, unadraw kutoka kwa business, you will be very generous giving people money belonging to the business. Treat a business like a person. Actually, we say when you create a limited company, that company becomes a person. So umekuwa ukiibia biashara yako. Kama haujilipi mshahara, una draw kutoka kwa account, unaandika check, unapea watu pesa kutoka kwa biashara. So we need to separate business money from all the other monies. And with that, I'll put maybe, Koma, let me hand it over. I know we've spent more time than I'm supposed to spend, but in case you want to have a chat or you want to talk to me, I want to give you my number. I'm putting it on my chat. Then we can engage further. Maybe I can also share with you the tracker for expenses and all that you can use. That is my number that I'm typing there, and my email. Feel free to engage me through what we call zgikonyo at gmail.com. So that is my contact. Over to you, Esther, kindly. Yeah, that is a short time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zipporah. Thank you very much. I don't know whether anyone has a comment or a question. I don't want to lock anyone out. Do we have anyone with a comment or a question? Or we are good? We can just put a thumbs up if we are good, so that we just that's very insightful. Thank you very much. We all need to be reminded how to behave with our money. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Martha. I think we are all good. Yeah, thank you very much. So, thank you very much, Zipporah, for that session. Women, money, and investment. I think we want to see many more women invest. And interesting, maybe as we come to a close, I had a conversation with Dr. George Washuri the other day. He's a friend of mine, and he told me the biggest or the largest number of investors for Optiven are women.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Women are the ones, if you look at even the vehicles when they're going for viewing, the biggest number are women. So women are doing a very good job. So let's also encourage the women in our circles to continue investing and to do what a friend of mine says, mind your money. You know, mind your money. Thinking about your money and putting it in the right places. Thank you very much, everyone. God bless you. Have a good night. And thank you, Zipporah, for your time. As always, Asante. Time to become rich women. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Sarah. When we mind our money,